First thing foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakodash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the whole flect. News in this gospel, bro. Lifting up the standard of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is the Akia Mahaloya coming back with another lesson through the spirit. Title, how the hell is that adultery, man? I was watching the elder Apostle Gabar's video on this guy. I think his name was Ayathan from the Israel United in Christ, the IUIC. Okay, that group, that carnal, wicked, that simpish group. And I believe he was I believe he was put out for an alleged adultery case or a charge, right? Because for the simple fact, we don't really know the intel or the story of it, but allegedly this guy committed adultery because he had a wife, which, you know, they teach you that I don't know, it's like I went through a dry patch there. Signal faded out. But anyway, we know in Esau's kingdom that adultery is when a man cheats on his wife, which in fact, a man can't cheat on his wife. Let's nip that shit in the bud right now. Okay, one thing, men can't cheat on women. Only time it becomes an offense is if it's a man dealing with another woman that has a man already, which most of these women do. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like, a lot of these women that y'all may run into, a lot of these bitches, they got men on the side, okay? Either they lying about it, or they just broke up, or they living with the dude, which, you know, there are certain instances that a female live with a dude and they're not together, but you better believe at some point in time they was dealing, okay? So that's a real sticky situation, man. But in retrospect, there's no such thing as a man committing adultery on a woman when there's no, you know what I'm saying? And they go Esau. When there's no fucking Edom. Hold on, here come Esau. When there's no particular how can I say it? When there's no when there's no other man or other men involved, that's bullshit, man. And anybody that's teaching that is because they sold out or they took the purse, you know. And I believe IUIC, I believe they took that purse, you know, because for the simple fact, why would they teach that? Okay, if this man is a demon and he sold out, then that's just what it is. You know, now Salaki Esau was behind my ass. Thought he was gonna pull me over, but he didn't. He went the other way. But anyway, so with that being said, getting back on point, that's wickedness, man. You know, and if he was kicked out for that, then that's off. Okay, because like I said, when you go to Exodus, I think it's the 21st chapter, it goes into how if a man takes on another wife, as long as he doesn't diminish the duty of arraignment, you know, which is basically take care of her, you know, food, clothes, shelter, whatever, and sex, which the scriptures goes into give due benevolence, which is sex, then, you know, you could take on another wife. Because to be honest with you brothers out there, we really don't have real wives in this kingdom. Okay, because for one thing, none of us are really set up in a position to take care of multiple women unless you just rich as all hell. Okay, but I know most brothers that got wives, they stay with their wives, they, you know, with their women and their children, and they may have a dip on the side, or they may have a woman on the side that they claim to be the wife, because wife just means woman. But overall, these are really concubines we're dealing with, because, you know, like I said, these women they wasn't virgins when we met them. Okay, there wasn't a dowry paid to the father for the property of the daughter, because a woman, she's just property that's transferred from one owner to the next, you know. So technically we really don't have wives. We have women that we're dealing with on this side, but we don't really have real wives. Okay, so we have to really put that out there, though, you know, we do deal with women, you know, which we consider our wives. But adultery is not when a man takes another wife. Okay, the scriptures say that a man can have more than one woman. Okay, if a man could take care of 4 or 5 women and they all single, then that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Though the scriptures goes into everything that's lawful is not expedient, because it's not expedient to have or to multiply wives to yourselves in his kingdom. All right, it's not expedient to multiply wives to yourselves in his kingdom, because, you know, where the scripture says high time to wake up out of sleep. So with that being said, you know, by us being at the end of this thing, we got to concentrate and focus on the ministry, man, because that's what's most important. Now, like I said, you got men in this thing that have other women that they deal with. But really, brothers, man, these are just women that we're fucking with on the side, or you fucking with on the side, man. Okay? And you may be in a situation with her. You may call her your so-called wife or girlfriend. But reality of it is, it's just a bunch of women we fucking, man. And you may, play house with them and shit. But realistically, they not really our wives. Okay? Because they wasn't virgins when we met them. But you understand the concept. But anyway, so allegedly this guy Ayathan was put out of the camp because he committed adultery. Like I said, IUIC, they teach it that a man could only have one wife. And I know recently Nate and his zombies out there did I believe like a show or a lesson on how it's unlawful to deal with heathens. But wait a minute, man. Where's that in the scriptures that we can't deal with heathen women? Now, the scriptures do say we're not supposed to marry them or make them our first wives, because for one thing, you are given into a covenant of their practices. But when you take a woman from the other nations, she's supposed to conform it to your God and your power and your beliefs, not the other way around. And that's what Solomon went off at, because when he was dealing with women of the other nations, it says he loved many strange women, and he gave over to their customs, to their idols. There's one reason why the Most High told us not to do it in certain regard, not to give over to their customs. But the sin wasn't dealing with other women because they're just women. Because honestly speaking, in this day and age, the Israelite woman, she ain't no different than the other nations, man, because she's a heathen. And it would be in your best interest to deal with heathen women, because the Israelite woman on this side, she just trash, man. Okay, she's trash and she's not right in the spirit. So honestly speaking, we tell brothers to get Edomites, get Moabites, Ammonites, whatever you can find, deal with the Northern Kingdom woman. Or if you deal with Keisha, then so you can't condemn a brother because you see him with the Edomite woman. Shit, certain brothers prefer the Edomite woman because she's less of a hate. And at the end of the day, when she gets out of hand and she starts to overstep our boundaries, then you can just do away with her ass. Versus Keisha, she's hard to deal with. And the scriptures do say, unless for adultery, you ain't supposed to put your wife away. But also the scriptures tells us too that if she don't go the way that you have her to go, then give her a bill of divorce and cut her off. Because like I said, these women, they are heathens right now. They are in a mindset. So he did this lesson about, you can't marry heathen wives. But when you go into, I believe it's Deuteronomy, I think when it goes into like the spoils of war and the law of the concubine, how after you take captives the spoils of the other nations and you take the women, what you do, you take the woman and you shave her hair and her nails. Okay, then you lock her away for 30 days so she can mourn her father and mother, our family. And then after 30 days, you go into it and then she becomes your wife. Just that simple. So what are they talking about? We can't deal with heathens. That's not biblical, man. Okay, the scriptures never said that Solomon went off because he was dealing with the women, but instead he gave over into their customs. That was the offense, So that's madness out there, man. Also, when it says that the bishop should be the husband of one wife, that's not a law, but that's a suggestion, and that's wisdom because, being occupied in the ministry, you don't have time to be dealing with all these women, man. Okay, women bring headaches, they bring problems, okay? They bring confusion. And if you have 5, 6 wives and you're supposed to be the head of a church, how in the hell are you gonna focus on that on the ministry, man? But it wasn't a law that a bishop couldn't have more than one wife. Paul just said that it was just basically expedient to just have one wife, because like I said, he said those that have wives be as though they have none, So teaching that men can only have one woman, and if a man steps out on his wife as adultery, that's bullshit. Okay, women outnumber men 7-1. You look on the planet Earth, you have roughly 8.8 billion people, and guess what? 7 billion of those people are fucking women. And you got 1 billion men. So wait a minute. If you got 1 billion men to 7 billion women, so what are the other 6 billion women gonna do? What, they supposed to die barren? They supposed to die without kids? They supposed to die without having a child, without a man? No. They supposed to have more than one. Have more than one woman. Okay, which shows you that this IUIC group is not of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, but they sold out. Okay, because I'm noticing that this guy Nate is changing his doctrine to a more of a Western friendly doctrine. You only can have one wife. The man only can deal with one woman. Women can sit in the congregation. It ain't nothing but a fucking glorified Baptist church, man. Okay, that's all the IUIC is, and they're not the men of the Lord, you know. So let me see. Shalom Akim Akwati Mihabashim Shah Brakatam to you brothers out there. And another thing too, think about Isaiah 4:1. If a man was only a woman, then what about Isaiah 4:1? Because the scriptures say that in that day, 7 women should take hold of one man. Okay, and that day is talking about the time we getting ready to enter into. Okay, that's not talking about in the kingdom of heaven. From this side, those 7 women that you deal with, or 4, 5, 6, or 10, 15 women, however many the Lord sends you, they're going to end up carrying over to the kingdom, man. Because the women that's with us in that day, the 7 to 1, those going to be women that's of the elect, and they're going to get delivered for childbearing. So if she be saved, it is for childbearing. So the women that's going to cling to us during the time of Jacob's trouble are women that's going to basically bear our seed, you know, and we going to get other women from that. So you can't teach that a man having more than one woman is adultery. Now, if Ayathan or whoever the hell this guy was is dealing with multiple women and they are all betrothed to other men, then yeah, that's a different story. Okay? Yahweh Shah is not dealing with that because that's adultery. And it tells you in the law, it says that if a man lie down with men, or if a man lay down with a woman as he do with a man, or if she has a husband, then that is the adultery. Then the adulteress and the adulteress should be put to death. Their blood should be upon them. You see? So if I was to take a woman and she has another man and I take her, then that's adultery. Then that's judgment from the Heavenly Father. You see? And if he didn't do that, then he didn't go off. Okay? Like the IUIC is teaching. Oh, well, he went off. No, he didn't go off. You know, now if he was dealing with a woman that had another man, then yeah, he is going off and he should be kicked out. Okay? Because that's adultery. But see, Nate is so goddamn backwards to the point he sets up an environment for adultery because for the simple fact, you got none but women. You got more women in the IUIC than men, at least in my humble opinion. I believe you got more women in that church than men. So if you got more women in that church, then wait a minute. What about those sisters in that congregation that ain't got no husband? You know, you may have, let's say if you got 4,000 members in the IUIC and 3,000 are fucking women, you know, and 1,000 are men. Oh shit. 1,000 are men. So in that regard, what about the other 2,000 to 3,000, or what about the other 2,000 women? Are they not to have husbands? All because Nate pushes, well, nah, you want to have one woman? And first of all, Nate or anybody of the IUIC is in no authority to dictate how many men or how many wives a man have. Salakia. See, then that's what it gets a codish, man, because he don't have the jurisdiction or the authority to tell a man in his congregation, oh, you can't have another wife. Who the fuck is he? He ain't nobody important. Okay, he just a man that's supposed to be over the flock, and he's sucking at that job. So, if anything, he needs to be outed because he's teaching false doctrine, man. You know? But, you know, this is just a little quick lesson, man. I just kind of wanted to harp on it a little bit because I was kind of confused as to why this guy was kicked out. I knew it was for adultery, but was the charge substantiated, and was it really adultery, or was it because Ayathan decided to take on him another wife, which was his God-given right? You know, but at the end of the day, all them dudes at the IUIC, in my opinion, I don't believe none of the leadership are men of the Lord, but that's just my opinion, man. You know, at the end of the day, Yahweh Shah has full say-so over who's going to make it and who's not. But the way they going, I don't see them really making it, man, because they're going backwards. Here, all hell is getting ready to break loose, and yet these men, they're not even prophesying, but instead they're teaching you how to rap a head rap, where they'd rather teach on, men can't have more than one wife. You know, he's capitalizing on the emotions of his congregation. And these women in his congregation, they're simple as hell anyway. So they're going to believe anything that he says because they're a bunch of groupies. Which if you men were smart, you would take you and your women, you would leave that congregation because that's confusion. And that's how adultery gets started, you know? But anyway, with that, I'm going to close out giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you were edified until the next lesson. Shalom. Yeah, he go back because, I mean, he ain't right either. You know, he ain't right. And on top of that, them guys, you heard of the pocket? You know, them guys, they got a lot of scandals and shit going on, man. So at the same time, man, none of them dudes, that leadership, I believe that whole leadership is tainted and flawed. None of them ain't right in my humble opinion. But, you know, hey, that's why the Lord is going to come and he's going to set this thing right because, hey, You know, Jake is out of order. So with that being said, man, you know, the Lord is going to move when he's going to move on him. But with that, call Allah Yahweh Shemi Howard Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, shalom.